This story is about the last night of the election, the last night of the campaign in Austin, Texas, and it's called Bird in the Hand. There came a time on the night of the election when Bill Hilsman, our media guru, came up to me and suggested that I should address the crowd at Schultz's Beer Garden in Austin, Texas. The crowd was huge, and I wasn't sure what to tell them. Bill said things did not look good for us, but not to concede yet. Nevertheless, he felt that people needed to hear from the candidate. I needed to tell them something that would give them hope. Where have you heard that before?
Yes.
One of the great challenges for a dealer in hope is to continue to distribute that dear commodity when almost all hope is lost. Besides, these were the sons and daughters of Texas who fought in the trenches, not for party or power or greed, but for the Alamo of the heart. God, that's great, wasn't I'm not sure if the crowd realized that little Juford, wearing his sparkling jacket that looked like Elvis's shower curtain. What happened to that jacket?
It's on sabbatical this evening.
For once in his life, he did not introduce me as the next governor of the great state of Texas. He too knew it was just about over. But somehow the crowd sounded more like a victory celebration was taking place. They still believe, and I hope they always will. I had a victory speech in my mind, and I had a concession speech of sorts, but I had no idea what I was going to tell them now. I thought of what Willie Nelson once told me: never give them everything you've got. I didn't want to give them everything I had. It was too sad. I also thought of what Robert Louis Stevenson once wrote: it's a far better thing that the lad should break his neck than that you should break his spirit. They had plenty of spirit, and I wasn't going to break it. So I began by thanking the campaign staff for doing a great job. Angels could do no more, I told them. Then I thanked the volunteers who'd been the brick and mortar of what was truly a spiritual quest. Perhaps it was all the young people in the crowd that started me thinking of my dad, whom the kids all called Uncle Tom, telling stories around the campfire at Echo Hill, our family's summer camp. One of the stories Tom told every summer seemed to fit the moment, so I decided to borrow it. I knew he wouldn't have minded. There once was a great Indian chief, I told the crowd, and a small group of young bucks who wished to topple him from power. One of them came up with a clever idea, which he would spring on the chief that night at the big campfire in front of the whole tribe. When the time came to ask the wise old chief questions, the young buck would hold a small bird in his closed fist, and the question for the chief would be: is this bird living, or is it dead? If the chief said the bird was dead, he would merely open his hand and the bird would fly away. If the chief said the bird was living, he would very quickly, suddenly squeeze his fist and open his hand and show everybody the bird was dead. Either way the chief answered, he would look like a fool in front of the whole tribe. When the time came that night at the big campfire, the young buck stood up, holding up the bird in his closed fist. "Oh, great, wise chief," he said, "in my hand I hold a small bird. Is this bird living, or is it dead?" The chief looked at the young buck, and then he spoke. "You say you have a small bird in your hand. You ask, is this bird living, or is it dead? I will answer your question. Whether the bird is living or dead, my son, depends on you. And that little bird, folks, represents the hope that we the people will someday triumph over this corrupt system of career politicians practicing their politics as usual. Whether the bird flies or dies, my friends, depends